So I got a comment, and we're going to start with this. It was on one of my other videos, one of the Soft Guy Era videos. It says, every time we repeat high value man, we are playing along with their game. Women created the phrase, you've never heard a man refer to another man as high value man. It means money and nothing else. To pretend otherwise is only making it worse. So I'm going to address this today. I had a 30-minute video I was about to put out, but I was like, you know what? Even though it is very thorough, it is very long, and I know most of you don't even be making it through the majority of my videos. So I'm going to do a condensed version. We're going to cut a lot of the fat. Let's get to it. So the first thing I'll address very quickly is like, the whole high value man, like where it came from and, things of that nature. Because he said it came from women. No, it came from Kevin Samuels. Do your research. Nobody was saying that in the space. The other thing I want to let you know without going into detail like I did in my last version of this, I have been consuming this type of content for a long time. I have been in the space way longer. I mean, way longer than not only some of the people that you look at as like, oh, the big homies of the space and just like the most popular people absolutely have been consuming this content and like soaking up like all of this shit before they even got a platform. Like, so we'll just leave that there. So as far as that, this is not a woman phrase or anything like that. It was created by Kevin Samuels. But before that, they had phrases like alpha male and the jerk and the player, things of that nature, which we're not going to go to an in-depth breakdown, but that's the first thing. It's a phrase created by Kevin Samuels. The second thing is, it might not have even been created by Kevin Samuels. It could have been taken from somebody, but it was taken from someone in this whole, I hate to say this word, but manosphere space. So let's just get that out of the way. So the second thing is the whole we're playing right into their game. I don't know what game you were talking about. I don't know what game you were playing. I don't know if you are MGTOW and you do not want to deal with women at all. I don't know. Personally, I'm going to continue fucking with women. That's just me. That being said, I mean, at some point I may, commit to some form of identity or whatever, but you're going to have to play the game if you want to get women and stuff like that. You could hate the game, you could love the game, but you got to play the game if you're going to be fucking with women. That's just what it is. So let's get down to business. Now, as far as him saying a high value man is all money related or just money and stuff like that, and we're fooling ourselves if we think otherwise, I'm going to say two things to that. Number one, that's not true as far as what I believe a high value man is. But then the second thing is, when we look at the Kevin Samuels definition, he would always say that it's not just money. But when you look at it and it's like network and utility, all this other stuff, it's all adjacent to money in some way, which is very funny because I never really examined it or anything like that. I wasn't too caught up in trying to buy into what he was selling. But it's very funny. It's very funny because I know the truth. I know the game. I know how the world works. And that's just not it. What that does, his paradigm, it puts you into a good position to be a provider male and things like that. That's what it does. It puts you in position to capitalize as a person with a lot of money and professional status, because that's what a lot of his stuff is based on. That's where his paradigm comes from and things of that nature. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's get down to business as far as before we get to a high value male, we got to discuss value. So let's break down value very quickly. Let's pretend that you have a merchant and you have a buyer. Boom. That's one type of value exchange. You have somebody with a product and the other person with some currency. The person with the currency wants or needs what the other person has as far as a merchant, and it's a product. So if you think of something like mouthwash, the guy who's buying, his breath is probably foul and he needs the mouthwash. He needs it. So he's going to pay the money, and that is a piece of value, the currency. He's going to give it to the other person as far as a merchant who has a mouthwash, and that is going to be the value exchange. Now, in some cases, you may have a barter. When you look at a barter, it's like, okay, I have the mouthwash as far as, the merchant, but then as far as the other person, it would be another merchant. And what do they have? They have something of value. This guy, he needs a horse as far as a merchant. He's having trouble traveling. So this guy gives a horse for the mouthwash and some other shit, whatever the case may be. But it's an exchange of two valuable products and things like that. So when you look at that and that being value, how does it, as far as value exchange specifically, how does that relate to men and women? So what it starts with is what men and women want and need. That's what it is. So that determines what the values for the other person is. Because at the end of the day, there are things that women want and there are things that men want. That's just what it is. If we dumb it down without going deep, one of the things that men universally desire most is sex. When it comes to women, one of the things that they universally desire most is commitment. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, and this is a gem. Those two things are not equal. That is not really an equal value exchange, especially with what comes with the commitment as far as what a man typically has to do, because it's not just being there. No, no, no. When you're committed, you have to actually fulfill the role of a committed man and do certain things. So, with that being said, if you absolutely have to commit to get sex, you're a low value man. I just have to say it. That's what it is. If you not if you somebody with your virginity and you waiting, but like if you want sex and you have to commit to get it, you are a low value man. If it's not coming from a place of your choice and it's coming from a place of I need to get this coochie and the only way I'm gonna get it is by making her my girlfriend. You're low value. As where when it comes to high value men, this is the difference. A woman will be willing to give her coochie without getting commitment. And that's one of the things that she wants most. That's one of the things that she desires most. Now, you'll have women say that's not true, or, just because it's them, they don't want commitment and they're fucked up and shit like that. But when we look at the majority of women, the guy that they're fucking with, the guy that they really are head over heels for, they want commitment from that guy. That's just how it works. Now, the thing about this, remember I said that sex is what men want most. That's on the front end. That's on the front end. That is biologically how we're hardwired. That doesn't mean sex automatically is equivalent to our commitment or worth our commitment. That's just not what it is. That's why I mentioned the other things as far as your womb, because if you were a chick who has sex with a bunch of guys and you got 3, 4 kids and stuff like that, that is something that begins to diminish your value. It begins to diminish your value. And outside of that, what you actually need, and I'm not going to lie, a guy has to be ready for this, but you have to be a helpmate. You have to be somebody who actually makes this guy's life easier and enhances his life. That is what you have to be. So with that, that will get a guy's commitment. But the thing is, you know, the road to both of those looks different. And we're not going to get into that today because, again, I'm trying to keep it short. So now that we understand value, I'm going to define what a high value man is to me. It's not about your network and your net worth and all of that stuff. This is what it is. Are you a highly attractive, highly sought after male? That is it. That proves in the sexual marketplace you have a lot of value. Now, I'm going to be brief about this. The things that attract women that determine your value are going to be these 4 categories, and it's going to be in this order. It is going to be status is number 1. It's going to be personality is number 2. It's going to be looks is number 3. It's going to be money is number 4. Let's go through them very quickly. Status. The pinnacle of status would be a superstar. The lower tier status that nobody in this space talks about is being a supervisor or just a popular guy in your social circle or your city or whatever. That's the lower tier status. If you have that, chicks will be approaching you, they'll be talking to you, whatever the case may be. You'll be attracting a lot of chicks that you don't have to start the conversation with, you know. And some of them may even be bolder. I just keep it so real with you. I keep it so real with you. I don't have this happen to me, but one of my local homies who is real popular, he has pre-selection, all that shit. Same chick I was fucking with that I had to work for and all of this shit. And she's a whore. I'm gonna just keep it 500,000. You know, this dude, the chick hits him up and says, yo, like, how big is your dick? I'm trying to suck it. Off rip. And it's not because he looked better than me. It's not because, you know, he got a better personality than me or things like that. It's because of the status and another factor that I'm not even going to get into on here. But that's status. So then after that, you have personality and things like that. Listen, when you got status, it puts you in the best position. And it's really, really hard for you to fuck up when you got a high level of status. It's really hard for you to fuck up. But when we look at looks and money, you could have both of those. And if your personality is like you a fucking dweeb, you're going to fuck it up. You're absolutely going to fuck it up. And she's not going to want to fuck with you. That's just what it is. So personality is important. I'm not going to get too deep on that. You just got to be able to seal the deal. You got to have game to some, and I'm not even talking about high level game. Like you can have high level game, but you know, if you're just able to seal the deal, if you got a magnetic personality, if you're funny, if you're charming or whatever the case may be, you know, that's going to help you tremendously. And this is the thing about that. You got to remember, because this is the reason they don't put it in LMS, because you can't just see personality off rip. But this is the thing, and I know this from personal experience. A personality, once exposed to a person, can attract a person. Some women are actually, and this is real, are attracted by intelligence to some degree. We already know that they're attracted by humor to some degree. Now, these things, there are comedians who they're not the hottest guys and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But these are things that can help get that attraction towards you. And at the end of the day, like I said, if you got looks and money and you got like a whack ass personality, you terrified of bitches or whatever the case may be, like you're going to fuck it up. So personality is very important. We then get to looks. I don't have to go into that too deep. I'll try and simplify it for you. So your physique, as far as, you know, your muscles or whatever, you got that. Then you got your face, whether you got a beard or not, dental hygiene, you know, your hair, as far as on the top of your head. Do you got tattoos? You know, what color are your eye? Just all, what is your face shape like? You know, all of that stuff that you see these looks max and dudes go over and shit like that. I don't buy into that. But you know, when it comes to in fashion, I forgot about fashion, you know, and things of that nature. You could even throw piercings in there if we being honest. You know, all of that stuff. It all plays, anything about your physical appearance, and I mean anything, plays a part in physical attraction. So once we get past that, we get to the last one, which is money. And I'll make this simple. You know, when it comes down to it, the misconception guys have is that you got to have money or it's about the money, et cetera, et cetera. This is what it is. Saying that you got it is the weakest shit you could do. You know, showing that you got it is also, you know, kind of weak, but it's a little stronger. But this is the thing. How you show it. And if you show it by what you do with it, that's the strongest thing. That's the strongest thing. So I'll give you weak examples very quickly. Like, you know, flashing a bunch of money in your Instagram pictures and stuff like that. Because it's tax season. That's weak. We won't get into a bunch of weak examples. We'll get straight to a strong example. A strong example is you pull up somewhere in a Phantom and hop out. That's something that is going, like, chicks are going to see that and they're going to say, well, he's wealthy and he must be somebody. So they're going to think you have status, even if nobody fucking knows you at all. Like, even if nobody but your mom fucking knows you. But at the same time, they're going to think you're wealthy. So when you look at things like that, you know, and I just say this very quickly, there are guys who have attracted chicks just off of posting their betting winnings off DraftKings or whatever the fuck, things like that. So, that type of stuff, it'll reel chicks in. But the thing I want you to remember about that, look at everything else we mentioned. We mentioned looks. That's you. That's a part of you. We mentioned personality. That is actually you. That is your entire ego. What you're at, not like, no, oh, you're cocky or not. That's what your actual psyche is. It's you, your personality. When we go to status, at least we can say that's something you achieved, and people look at you a certain way. When we talk about money and stuff like that, when we talk about money, the one thing, it's hard to lose status. Losing status takes time. Lottery winners go broke every day. And that's how I'm going to end it, man. So the more in demand you are as a man is going to be based on those 4 things. That's just what it is. Let me know your thoughts. I'm gone.